Hello and welcome to your nail art box tutorial from Nail Your Look. I'm going to go over the steps today. If you are doing a neon ombre, if you have the neon ombre box, then you have these two colors and you have white, okay? If you got the pink box, you have white, you have pink, and you have a darker pink, okay? So if you want to do an ombre that goes from light to dark pink, you're going to paint your nails white before you start. If you want to do a kind of a ombre French tip, you're going to paint your nails peony before you start instead of white, okay? So I painted my nails white because I'm going to do the neon for demonstration. So again, if you're doing light pink to dark pink, start with white. If you're doing light pink to white, start with peony. Paint your nails peony. That's the only exception. Okay, if you're doing the neons, paint your nails white. So my nails are white. They don't have to be perfect. Just do a couple of thin coats. It doesn't have to fully cover. This is just the base color so that you don't have to use as much product when you're doing the ombre. Okay, so these are my colors. I'm using the neons. You have a makeup sponge and you have cuticle protectors. Okay, so they're all different colors. I'm going to show you how to put this on. It's stretchy. I'm going to lay it kind of in the center and I'm going to kind of tack it down and then just stretch it out to protect your skin. Okay. They're very stretchy. And that way, when we're sponging on the color, it's not going to get on your skin. If some does get on your skin, it's really easy to clean up, but this just kind of saves a step. Okay, so go ahead and do all 5 fingers. Okay, all of my nails are masked. The ones included in your box are latex free. So if you have a latex allergy, you should be fine. You can also use liquid latex for this if you don't have a latex allergy and if you already have that. Okay, so it's all masked and ready to go. Now I'm going to talk about how to do the neons first, and then I'll talk about how to do the pinks if you're doing a pink box, okay? So you want to use a makeup sponge because it's super porous but dense. So it's going to be able to hold a lot of product, but it doesn't have big spongy holes that's going to ruin your design, okay? So that's why we like the makeup sponge instead of regular sponge. You're going to think about how you want to hold your sponge. So I like to hold it like so, which means that the color I want at the bottom of my nail are going to go towards the thin part of the triangle. The color I want in the middle is going to go in the middle, and then the color I want on the tip is going to go here. You also have to think about how wide are your nails, right? So I need to keep my polish in this area. If I spread it out too much, it won't fit on my nail, if that makes sense. Let's try it. I haven't even tested this combination out. So I'm going to make sure all my lids are undone so I can work quickly and not have to unscrew lids as I go. I might want to use white as a barrier in between the two colors, or I can directly mix them together and it would kind of make a neon orange. But I don't want the colors to touch. So especially on the first nail, you got to be real generous with the polish because a lot of it is going to soak in. So bright. These neons are very bright. And then I'm going to do a little bit of white in between. And we might end up doing multiple layers depending on how bright we want it. So I'm just going to hold my thumb steady, turn it over, and just start tapping it. Kind of moving up and down as I go, just a little. Oh, they are mixing together, but it's really pretty, so I'm good with it. Okay, that's the first coat. I'm gonna make sure I get all the way to the edges. If you have super curved nails, you might have to insist that the color gets all the way to the edge. Okay, now we're just gonna reload the sponge. And this time I'm not probably gonna bother with the white because I kind of like how it looked all mixed. Let's do a little bit more. Okay. On your smaller nails, you might be able to do multiple nails at once and you'll be able to tell when the sponge is kind of running out of color. This is turning out so good. I mean, I knew it would, right? I'm not surprised at all. This is how it worked in my head. That's not always the case though. It doesn't always turn out the way I think it's going to in my head. And I like how bright this is, but I can tell that I'm going to want to do 2 coats because I want it to be crazy bright. Okay, I think the pinky needed a little more pink. I'm going to just go a little more pink. Okay. Check that out. Oh my goodness, it looks so good. All right, the thumb is probably about dry because we're using a makeup sponge, so it's not laying down a crazy amount of product. Let's do this one more time. Okay, so you can see a little bit of texture, but when you do the top coat, that's going to disappear and it's going to look super smooth and beautiful. It's one of those things with nail art where you have to kind of trust the process and see the whole thing through. Sometimes people are like, oh, this isn't what I wanted. This isn't what I thought it was going to look like, and they give up a little early. Don't be hard on yourself and trust the process. Okay, by now the sponge is super full of color. So when you get to your second coat, you might find that you don't need to reapply very often. Okay, I want more pink. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna cheat a little with my pinky because it's so much smaller that the color didn't really get to the tip. There we go. Okay, now we're going to give this a few minutes to really dry. And we'll go to the next step. All right, while these are drying, let's talk about the colors that we're going to use if we're doing a pink manicure. Okay, so if you want to move from light to dark, you're going to put, remember you're holding it like so. So this is the bottom of the nail, right, this end. Don't be distracted by the bright nails. All right, so we're going to take white, and white goes at the bottom, okay? Then light pink, okay? And you're going to be really generous, remember, on the first, when you're first filling your sponge with polish. And then this would be the color that goes on the tip. I'm going to see if it works on paper. I haven't actually tested this theory, but... kind of doesn't. Paper's not a good place for an example, but it starts white and then it gets to pink. So it'd be white at the bottom and then bright pink towards the tip. That's if you're going from light to dark pink on the end. If you're wanting to do a French tip type of ombre, where it starts, where your whole nail is light pink and you just want white fading onto the tip, your sponge is going to look like this. It's going to be loaded up with pink, and this pink is kind of glassy. It's semi-transparent. That's why I had you paint your nails pink instead of white, because actually white is the dominant color here because it has the most pigment, so it's going to show up better than if you painted your nails white and tried to do the pink over it. Okay, so the tip of your nail is going to be white, right? So you're loading that up. This is going to be super subtle. So you're going to have to do it 2 or 3 times. But then when we flip it over, it goes pink to white on the tip. Okay? So in the example picture, this is what I did to achieve the light pink to white tip. You can do this with any colors that you want. So if you wanted nails, for example, that were sparkly blue on the tip and light blue at the base, you could do that. This one turns purple when it gets warm, so that might actually be really cool because the tip would change color. But anyway, you can do this with any color. This is a technique that works with any color combo. All right, I think that we're dry. So let's go ahead and take off the barrier. So this just peels right off. Oh, look at that. It looks so good. Okay. Next one. You're just being careful not to bump your nails. And as you can see, a little bit got through, but that's okay. I'll show you how to clean that up before we do our top coat. And last but not least, boop. Okay. So let's clean it up. Let me find my cleanup brush. 1 second. All right, this is my cleanup brush that I love for Maniology. It might be part of a future box. Look how cute. I mean, it's not necessary to have glitter in the handle, but why not? I like this shape, but you can use any little paintbrush that you have lying around. You can even, if you're very, very, very careful, use a Q-tip, although I don't recommend it because the little cotton, you know, gets stuck in the polish. I'm using 100% acetone. I'm going to pour a tiny bit into the cap without getting any anywhere else. Boop. It doesn't take much at all. And then I'm going to set that where I won't tip it over. Okay. So this is hard on your cuticles. So immediately after I'm done doing this, and by done I mean like I'm going to put a top coat on, and then I'm going to get my cuticle oil and be very generous. But I'm just taking the edge of my brush and picking up, do you see there? Picking up the excess polish that's sitting on my skin and just kind of cleaning up the edges. I could have not used the latex nail protector, cuticle protector, and just let my skin get all polished and then cleaned it up afterwards. That's also an option. But this just makes it go a little bit faster. So normally it's just about like so. Also, polish will kind of flake off of your skin in about a day. So if you're not going anywhere and you don't want to clean it up, you really don't have to. It will come off. There's oil in your skin and it will come off. I didn't check to see if I stayed in screen that whole time. So sorry if I'm off camera here. Okay. See how the skin around my cuticle is turning white? That is severe dehydration, but the cuticle oil will put hydration right back and it will be fine. It'll look pretty again. All right, so I'm going to take my top coat now. I am working on a Rissa Loves top coat. It is not ready yet though, so use whatever top coat you have. Sally Hansen Instant Dry is a good one. It dries really quickly. I like Sech Vite. It has toluene in it though, if I'm pronouncing that right. And that's not something you want to be using all the time. So I'm creating a top coat that doesn't have any harmful or potentially harmful or suspected of being harmful ingredients. So what's cool is now that I'm putting the top coat on, the tiny bit of texture that happened because of the sponge is smoothing out, and it's just going to look like a very seamless transition between colors. You can do this with 3 colors. You can do this with 4 colors. The only thing you need to be aware of is that if you put colors side by side that don't mix well, you're going to get a weird muddy transition. So like for example, if I was trying to use let's say bright pink with like sage green, if these 2 colors mix, it's going to turn brown. So that would be really ugly in the middle of the nail. So just keep the color wheel in mind and use colors that complement each other or mix together and turn into another pretty color. So like yellow and pink mixed together makes bright orange. So this turned out to be a very fun, very bright manicure. I hope you enjoy your nail art box. I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. I'd love to see pictures, and I'd love to know what you want to do next time. Thanks. Bye.